Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. This segment of the show brought to you by our good friends at Coffee AM. I want to remind you guys, check out all the shows here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, whether it's this show, A to Z, or Hitting Hard with John Chuckery, ATL Day Ones with Jarvis Davis and Tanitra Batiste. Don't forget about our Braves postcast after every Braves game and the little sweep they got of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And don't forget about Locked On Falcons and Locked On Hawks, all right here on the Locked On Sports Atlanta network. Give us a follow at Locked On ATL. I'm at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. We'll get into the Braves and their short future here, as we are just a day away from the trade deadline here in Major League Baseball. So we'll get to that coming up. But, you know, as I said, the Falcons fans are a tough bunch to please. And I've been in this town, in this market for a while now, almost a decade. Dear Lord, it's gone by fast. And one thing I've learned about Falcons fans, it's you're damned if you're doing, you're damned if you don't with some of you guys. It's like, you want a winner and you get one that gets to the Super Bowl, but you complain about the defense. And then, you complain about the defense get better. And then Matt Ryan has a down year in 2017, only throws 20 touchdown passes, and the offense isn't good. And then it's get rid of Matt Ryan. Then it's keep Matt Ryan. Then it's get rid of Julio. Then it's keep Julio. I mean, it's all over the place. Well, the Falcons wanted a team. Falcons fans finally want a team now that's going to be a little bit tougher. They're going to be stronger. They're going to be more physical. And what happens on Saturday? 2 fights break out, and Arthur Smith has to cancel practice early because the fights broke out at camp. And then you have fans sitting there going, well, typical Falcons. Well, what do you want? Do you want a tough, gritty, scrappy team that's going to bite somebody's kneecaps like Lions head coach Dan Campbell would say? Or do you want a team that's soft and not tough? And remember that? Remember Mike Smith on Hard Knocks? Falcons aren't tough. Falcons soft. Remember that from Hard Knocks? Yeah. Which one is it? Which team do you want? Figure it out. I mean, look, fights happen at training camp all the time. It's not anything new. Coaches ending practice early because of it. It's not anything new. A lot of these fights happen towards the end of practice. They don't happen at the very beginning. You want to know why? Because guys are hotter. They're tired. They're more irritable. They've kind of had enough and they just want to get out of there. And so somebody does something that crosses them and ticks them off. And guess what? Well, it's go time. Fights don't break out in the first 15 minutes of practice ever. That never happens. And it also only happens typically during 7-on-7 drills, where there's an offense and a defense and each guy is trying to win to impress coaches. So don't make too much of it, to say the least. It seems like, however, from the weekend when I was out at Falcons training camp in Flowery Branch on Saturday, the entire coaching staff, by the way, has a little bit of a set of rabbit ears towards some of the prognostications for the Falcons this year. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Some folks play that kind of stuff close to the vest and say, I don't hear it. I haven't heard it. I don't pay attention to stuff like that. And it squashes it really quick. Well, that wasn't Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith talked about over the weekend, about, the idea that prognosticators were predicting how bad the Falcons were going to be. And, he said, go back and look at predictions if you want some comedy. Quote, it's a joke. And then he talked about the iPhone as an argument. And basically saying that the predictions for the iPhone, that it wasn't going to work, it was going to fail. That's what they were when the iPhone just came out. And guess what? Well, those predictions were there, and that's what people said. And it worked out pretty well. So his point being that everybody's right. But, I wonder how much that sort of stuff, it really sticks with the coach, really bothers him, really gets in his craw enough for him to bring it up in a press conference. Maybe he just got tired of being asked about it. Maybe he wanted the media to know that he's well aware of what people are saying and he's out to prove people wrong. Again, it's one of those things where it'll come back to bite you regardless. If you don't say it and you don't bring it up and then somehow you supersede expectations, then you have to rub it in everybody's face, right? Because that means you did hear it. But if you do bring it up and you don't exceed expectations and you talk the way Arthur Smith did, you look a little bit foolish. So it's tough to play it. It really is. And Arthur Smith wasn't the only one who had something to say. I'll tell you who that is in just a moment. First, a word from our friends at Coffee AM. Yeah, an Atlanta-based small batch coffee roaster that has the best coffee around. I tell you guys about when that box got to my house. I'm telling you, we ordered Coffee AM, got it to my house, opened it up, and bam. I mean, it just smacks you right in the face. If you love the smell of coffee and the taste of coffee, this is why you have to go to Coffee AM. It's the freshest coffee you can get. That's because most of their coffees are roasted and shipped the same day or close to it. And they only roast current crop specialty grade coffee. They have a massive selection from all around the world: organic, fair trade, direct trade, expertly crafted blends, espressos, flavored coffees, gourmet teas, and a whole lot more. You're going to love this stuff. They have coffees from all over the world. I told you I've tried the rainforest, a Kenyan one, Sumatra. I mean, these are great, and they're all roasted right in your backyard. Go to coffeeam.com/locked on today and take a look at their full menu of coffees, teas, and gift sets. That's coffeeam.com/locked on. Use the coupon code locked on at checkout to get 15% off your first order of coffees, teas, and gift sets. Coffee AM, the best small batch coffee roaster in America. All right, back to the Falcons here, because again, Arthur Smith wasn't the only one that was chirping. Dean Pease, the Falcons defensive coordinator, got into a little bit of a rant on Saturday, talking about the defense and the players and everything else. Now, again, Dean Pease has a very distinct demeanor. And I choose the word carefully, distinct, because we've seen this from him last year. He seems like a crotchety old fart sometimes in press conferences. And I mean that in the kindest of ways, right? He's that get off my lawn guy. You know, I know how to do this, you don't kind of deal. I've been around football for 40 years. You haven't. I've seen and won at the highest levels. You haven't, kind of deal. And that's fine. That's fair. I don't think he's wrong for holding those positions. But when you hold those positions and you do so with the media, you're going to get pushback. And if things don't go the way you prognosticate them to, and things don't go the way that you preach them to, you have to be held accountable for that. And that's the problem with Dean, where he doesn't like to be called out for that stuff. He wants to be given a pass. And that's not how it works. But he did go on to talk about the type of football player that he wants. He went on to talk about the kind of football player that you need. You know, tough guys. He talked about James Harrison. He said that guys have got a chip on their shoulder. They're ready to go out there and prove themselves. You know, quote, this is a tough ass sport. What you want is guys who get their burr up a little bit when they get beat. You've got to come back and fight, not fist fight, but don't take it. He continued, I'm tired of everybody telling us how bad we are. Okay. This defense has been in the top 10 just one time in the last 20 years. That BS is over. Paraphrasing. I'm sorry, I'm getting fired up. I'm tired of this crap. We're changing the culture on defense at this freaking place. People are going to start talking about the Atlanta defense like they did in Baltimore and New England. We're going to get the same ish around here. I'm sorry for the swearing. Those are quotes that we're going to come back to mid-season if their defense stinks, and he's going to have to answer for it. And I think that's totally fair. I think it's 100% fair. I hope he's right. I hope this defense is good. But if this defense is going to be good and people are going to start talking about this defense the way they did Baltimore and New England, you're going to find some players that other teams couldn't find or didn't find. And Terry Fontenot's going to look like a damn genius for getting these guys. And Arthur Smith's going to be coach of the year at some point, because that's what happens in Baltimore and New England. That's what those guys did. So you're talking about two of the best front offices with two of the most consistent, detailed head coaches that have ever coached in this game, or at least in the last quarter century. Those are high comparisons for Dean Pease to throw out there for this defense, especially when, again, they've only had one top 10 defense in the last 20 years. Big, big bar to jump over. Speaking of big bars to jump over, that's what the Braves have in front of them as they try to overtake the NL East. Some interesting news and notes on the Braves. They get set for a series with the Phillies and then on to the New York Mets. Plus one Brave. The odds are swinging in his favor. That's next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta.